Returning subscribers, thank you so much for always clicking and subscribing to my video. For those who are new to this channel, welcome. If you may, please consider subscribing and clicking on the notification bell so that whenever I post a video, then you are notified. So today we are going to talk about a statement of purpose. Be sure to watch to the end as I'm going to be showing you a statement of purpose template that you can use to actually make your own statement of purpose for the sake of applying for number one, a student permit to Canada or admission to a Canadian university. Shall we? There's so much confusion between a statement of purpose, a motivation letter, and a letter of explanation. I'm here to clarify and to give you the difference between these three. Now, when you talk about a statement of purpose, or rather a motivation letter, these are used interchangeably. In other words, they mean the same thing. A letter of explanation is used to reapply for a Canadian student permit when your visa has been denied before. When it comes to letter of motivation or a statement of purpose, this is actually written by a first-time applicant who is applying for a student permit or who is applying to be admitted at a Canadian university. Got it? Yeah. One is done for a reapplication, which is the letter of explanation, and the other is written by a first-time applicant. Yes, there's a difference between a statement of purpose and a cover letter. So usually when you do a cover letters are mostly used to apply for jobs. But when you talk about statement of purpose or a letter of motivation, usually this is versatile and you can use it for application for grants or scholarships, admission to universities, application for a student permit, and so on. Okay? After giving the differences between all these terms, then what is a statement of purpose or a motivation letter? So in this video, we are going to be using either a motivation letter or a statement of purpose. So what is a motivation letter? This is a one-page long document that explains the reason why you are applying for whatever you're applying for, either a study permit or admission to a university or a college, or to be granted a scholarship or a grant. Okay, so it explains the purpose, the reason why. It justifies why you are an ideal candidate to be chosen for whatever you are applying for. Now in this video, we're going to talk about application for a student permit to Canada. And so I'm going to be giving reference to application of a student permit. However, just to let you know, guys, that you can use the same letter to apply for grants, for scholarship, for admissions at a university. Just fine-tune it and address it to whoever you're addressing it to. The structure remains the same. Having explained what a motivation letter is, let's get right into the structure of a motivation letter. Now guys, at this point, if you have not subscribed yet, kindly consider clicking on the red button. Also, the bell. And like my video, please, because when you like my videos, then I look good on YouTube. And so I am motivated to do more videos, and my videos will reach you and others who actually are in need of this type of explanations and who this information can help them in one way or the other. So please consider liking the video. Like, and subscribe. Thank you. On to the structure of a motivation letter. So a motivation letter has three parts. Okay, number one, it has the introduction. Number two, it has the body. Ideally, introduction is part of the body, but for the sake of this video, we are gonna separate them. And the third part is the conclusion. Okay, so we have introduction, a body, and conclusion. Ideally, there's a difference between a 3-paragraph motivation letter, a 5-paragraph motivation letter, or a 7-paragraph motivation letter. What makes the difference? The difference comes in the body. Okay? The body includes the points that you are explaining. Remember, you have to separate each point you're trying to focus on per paragraph. A 3-paragraph motivation letter has only 3 paragraphs, which is the introduction, the body, and the conclusion. In this case, it is used to write short but effective motivation letter. However, between 3 and 7-paragraph motivation letter also follows the same structure, which is the introduction, the body, and the conclusion. However, in the body, it is divided into different paragraphs depending on how many points you want to focus on. So if you have several points, then that will inform the number of paragraphs that you have in a motivation letter. Let's get into the details. Introduction. Use this paragraph to introduce yourself and a summary of your educational and professional background. Make it interesting and make the visa officer want to go further into the details. And so it is the most important part of a motivation letter. Remember, you're making an impression, and so this will determine whether the visa officer will continue reading your motivation letter or not. Make it interesting, make it captivating. Capture the attention of the visa officer in the introduction. The second part, which is the body. Here, explain your points. As I said before, remember to separate each point per paragraph. Always use a positive words. You don't want to be so negative. Nobody ain't got time to read negative motivation letter. Remember, this is the only way you're communicating to the visa officer. There are no interviews when you're applying for a study permit to come to Canada. The only interview is the documents that you're submitting. You're not even going to see the visa officer or the person who is actually processing your application. And so the only way to communicate to that person is through this statement of purpose. So make it positive, make it interesting, make it personal. And I'll talk about that in my next section. The third part of a motivation letter involves the conclusion. In the conclusion, make a summary of 3 to 4 sentences explaining your goals. Okay? Remember, leave a lasting impression. Just as the introduction, conclusion is very important. Make the visa officer remember your statement of purpose. Okay? So leave a lasting impression on the visa officer. Remember to craft it so well. Thank the visa officer for reviewing your application and do a professional closing. Best practices when you are actually constructing or writing your motivation letter. The language of your motivation letter should be easy to understand, clear and precise. Avoid using jargons or big languages that might be misinterpreted. Use active language to avoid misinterpretations by the visa officer. Use positive language. Always focus on positive situation. However, if at any point you want to describe a challenge you faced, make sure you include how you overcame that challenge. Make an outline. Before you start writing your motivation letter, make sure to craft an outline, how you want your motivation letter to look like. Come up with the introduction and the body. Separate the points, the key points you want to talk about, and group them in a logical manner. An outline will make your work easier when it comes to the actual writing of the motivation letter. Give it a personal touch. Make it your own. If you want to stand out, make sure the motivation letter applies to your situation. practical experiences and situations that you have actually experienced. Ensure to include your interests, your feelings, and your perspectives. Stick to a natural voice when you are doing this motivation letter, and make sure it sounds as how you would speak. Remember, I told you this is the only opportunity to communicate to the visa officer, and so make it personal, make it as natural, make it like how you'd speak to a person as possible. And lastly, remember to include interesting situations that would capture the attention of the visa officer. Always support the details you provide, so make sure you back up your statements. Okay, I'll give you an example. So if you are stating somewhere in the statement of purpose that you have critical thinking skills, that's good. However, back it up. Provide a situation where you use your critical thinking abilities to solve a situation or a problem, or to make the organization or whatever you are doing better. Proofread your letter of purpose. Proofreading ensures that you avoid spelling and grammatical mistakes. You don't want to make such mistakes, especially at this point. The first draft is not always the best. It is always advisable to actually talk to a friend or a family member that you trust to help proofread this document. And also this would help give you insights and ideas that you could use to better your statement of purpose. I'm gonna show you a sample. Who spoils you like that? Okay, so guys, remember, the first few people to like and comment down below will be getting a draft, a free word draft that they can use to actually do their statement of purpose. However, right now, let me show you how a typical statement of purpose or motivation letter looks like. The heading of this document is Statement of Purpose. As I said, it is a one-page document. Again, if you have lots of experience, you have so many points to focus on, you can go up to 1.5. However, good practice, make it one page. Date and then your name. In this case, we have Winnie Clarice. Okay, if there's anybody out there known as Winnie Clarice, I love that name, Winnie Clarice. After the date is your name and your address follows. And so you can either have your mailing address or your email address, whichever applies, or you can have both. Skip one line and then address it to where it's going. In this case, I'm using an example of the High Commission of Canada in Kenya, and so High Commission of Canada and their address, okay, Nairobi, Kenya. Skip one line and go to the section where you write attention or dear visa officer. So it can either be one, not both. So if you're using attention, do not use dear. If you're using dear, do not use attention. Remember, it is dear visa officer, okay? Avoid dear madam, dear sir, okay? You want to be gender neutral because you don't know who is going to be reviewing your application, and we don't want to make such assumptions. Remember, in today's world, people get easily offended, especially if you misgender them. You don't want to get into that situation. Skip one line and then go to the subject, okay? The subject, application for a study permit in Canada. Or you can just leave it as application for a study permit. Already we all know that it's for Canada because we are addressing it to Canada. But if you just feel like being extra, you can say application for a study permit in Canada. Skip one line. And this is where we are going to the introduction. Remember, you're not going to have this title introduction in your statement of purpose or in your motivation letter. I have just put it here to actually show you the template and how it works. So in this section, include a summary of your education and professional goals, as I told you before. Introduce yourself. to the visa officer. Make sure it is so capturing that the visa officer wants to know more about you in this document, okay? The next section is the body. Remember, the body could be 2 paragraphs, 3 paragraphs, or 1 paragraph, depending on how many number of points you want to focus on. So, the purpose, okay? This is why you justify why you want to study in Canada, okay? Give the visa officer reasons good enough why you want to study in Canada and not in your country, and not in the US, and not in the UK, and not in Australia, and not in Europe, and not in Africa, and not in India, not in China, not in Japan. Why do you want to study in Canada? Okay? Avoid making statements like, oh, I have a friend who applied and they've told me that Canada is good and I just want to try. Avoid such, okay? So do your research. Why do you want to study in Canada? I will give you pointers because I'm always generous. You could talk about Canada being so open to different nationalities. In other words, it is multicultural, okay? And so that's a good thing for you because you want to network with different people from different nationalities. Talk about the high education quality that you could get in Canada and how that will actually help you further your career. Talk about things like exposure to new environment and how that will help you further your career, okay? That is the first part of the body. The second part of the body is where now you justify. Give a reason why you have chosen, number 1, that university, number 2, that program, and number 3, the location of that university. And here, not a country, but the location in terms of a province or even in terms of the locality of that university. I'll break it down. So in this section, give a reason why you've chosen, number 1, for example, University of British Columbia in Vancouver and not University of Toronto in Toronto, or not University of Calgary in Calgary. Give reasons why you've chosen that university and why Vancouver. Why not Toronto? Why not Calgary? Why not Edmonton? Why not a place in Nova Scotia? You have to justify that, okay? Number 2, justify the choice of that program. For example, if you're going to study bachelor's in nursing, okay? Why have you chosen to study that course and not bachelor's in public health? Okay? Justify. And when you are justifying that, justify it tying it to the university that you've chosen. Okay? And so, where are you going to get this information? Go to the university website. There's lots of information. Read what they have there, especially about the course you have chosen, the department, the school, the activities that they do either annually or per semester or semi-annually. Get interested in this course and spend more time in this website discovering what they offer and what other universities offering the same course or program don't offer. For example, the university I chose had a co-op program. So this is whereby there's a semester you gain experience by actually going and working out there with. It's more of an internship, but it actually counts to the grades that you're given at the end of your program. Identify these unique activities that the university has included in the curriculum okay, that are offered specifically by this university and not other university. Okay, also justify why you want to take this program in this university and not in a university in your country, because I believe there's so many universities, including in your country, that offers this same program. So why? So the next paragraph, you could talk about the steps that you have taken towards getting admission to these universities. What have you done so far? Or have you just started by application for a study permit? Show that you are interested in actually studying at these universities and you have done 1, 2, 3. An example, state that you have actually gotten admission to this program in Canada. Also, you could state that you have paid the first semester's fee, which is actually mandatory. Also mention how you will pay subsequent semesters a fee and living expenses in Canada. And by this, you could talk about the scholarships that you have, the grants that you have, or you could state that you're going to be paying for yourself. The conclusion. Remember, I told you, this is where you make the visa officer remember you. Make him remember you guys, okay? Leave a lasting impression, okay? So this is where you state clearly your intentions of going back to your country once you're done with your studies in Canada. Let me tell you, I know for a fact most students don't come here just to study and go back, and that's okay. However, the immigration office in your country needs to know clearly that at the end of your studies in Canada, you're gonna go back to your country. So make sure the immigration officer knows that you are intending to go back to your country. How do you do this? You can do this by actually stating your ties back home. You could state your family ties, your business ties, your property ties, any ties that links you to your home country. Make them see it that you're actually just going to study and how those studies will benefit you back in your country. Remember to thank the visa officer in this section for reviewing your application and do a professional closing. Last but not least, sign out, okay? Yours sincerely, your signature, and then your name. Simple, 1 page. So guys, this is how to do a motivation letter. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. Guys, I would really appreciate if you guys really like my video, subscribe, share to people who would actually find this information beneficial. And I hope this information helps you. Thank you so much for always clicking and watching my video. I do not take it for granted. And see you in the next video.